Right.
It is obvious that while our people are in a position of terrible peril, those of us who are aware of the situation and who want to save our nation have done relatively little in the way of building a genuinely effective opposition. There are innumerable reasons for our movement's failure to build any lasting momentum and positive recognition amongst our people, not least of these being the absolute condemnation we face from powerful established interests. However, we cannot blame our weakness on those who oppose us. That is a losing mentality. We have to consider the situation confronting us only as an obstacle to be surmounted. And we do face an incredibly hard road. There is no doubt about that. In addition to all the hurdles we will have to go through to become political parties in Oregon and Washington, there is always a problem that much of our activity will have to be performed clandestinely for fear of the thugs and misfits who will try to silence us. We'll have to meet in secret and be very careful about who we invite to attend our events. This makes organizing activities, especially public events, more difficult, but it must be done and it can be done, as evidenced by the highly organized and well-attended nationalist events in Europe, despite our kinsmen there encountering even stronger and more violent opposition than what we face here. In Europe, there are political parties that have been around for decades, which are now entering national governments after years of complete obscurity. They are now hot topics to us and to many of their countrymen, but it took these parties sometimes dozens of years to build the infrastructure and to gain the experience necessary to achieve growth and popularity. While the configuration of Europe's political systems is usually different than ours, there is no excuse for our not finding a way to match their accomplishments. We simply have no choice. We need to start building the organizations and parties that will form the real movement that our children and their children will be a part of. If we don't start building things now, then those who come after us will have to start from scratch, as our predecessors had forced us to do. People ask me what differentiates the A3P from other nationalist organizations. I tell them the difference is that we are a political party and that we are attempting to work through the actual political process rather than merely complaining or trying to secretly attach ourselves to organizations and candidates who pale at the thought of openly promoting the interests of our people. Many Americans, especially patriots, have grown tired of the political process, rightly believing the system is rigged and that powerful interests essentially bar the way to electoral victory, regardless of how popular the idea or candidate, as was the case with Ron Paul. However, again, this is a losing mentality. History is not static. As time moves on, circumstances change. There will be opportunities in the future for us to make giant inroads, but we have to be prepared to take advantage of them. We need to plan for these opportunities and create today the tools that will be necessary in the future. We need to gain experience as activists and organizers, learning now what works and what doesn't, so that tomorrow we will know exactly what to do when a given situation arises. Our people did not suddenly wake up on the losing end of the culture war. The opposition spent generations working within the political process to achieve what it has. We need to do the same. We have to keep our chins tucked and hammer on, doing all the little things, the tedious stuff, the paperwork and legalese associated with politics. We probably won't win the next election or make any major breakthroughs for some time, but we can start the groundwork so that someday maybe my son or one of yours can make a difference.